Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the Great Helm. So let's begin with the actual name. This is a Great Helm. It can also be called a pot helm, a bucket helm, or a barrel helm. The Great Helm is a helmet typical of the High Middle Ages. It arose in the late 12th century in the context of the Crusades and remained in use until the 14th century. It was used by knights and heavy infantry. So to summarize, we can say that it was used basically from 1220 to 1540 AD. Now, as a helmet, it has advantages and disadvantages. An advantage, obviously, is the fact that your entire head is covered and protected. The disadvantages are ventilation and vision. Now, as far as the ventilation is concerned, as you can see, there are holes in the sides and the front of the helmet to allow the knight to breathe properly. However, you need to understand that these helmets were worn together with at least with chainmail in the case of Crusaders. It was used a lot. It could be used, but it definitely was not. It was not the easiest situation as far as breathing is concerned. That if you compare it to, for example, a Norman helmet, in which case we know that they had, and Greek helmets, for example, and Roman helmets, which had this and the part of the mouth uncovered, so it was easier to breathe in those helmets. But definitely that was a weak point of those helmets. So in this case, we have a better protection of the front of the whole part of the head, because the holes here tend to be quite narrow. And the reason being that otherwise it would be, the eyes would be in danger. So good protection, but we lose vision. So the Great Helm offered vastly superior protection than previous helmets, but it limited the wearer's peripheral vision, provided little ventilation, and could quickly overheat in hot weather. Now, the reason why the nasal helmet actually evolved into a Great Helm, a helmet actually able to protect the wearer's entire head, is because after all, a warrior can recover from many injuries, but wounds to the head carried far more grave consequences for warriors in ages past, due in no small part to the fragility and importance of the human brain, the higher concentration of blood vessels and so forth. So in this Great Helm, one of the most iconographic pieces of headgear of the High Middle Ages, we see a marriage of protective capabilities and elegance. And it was very common to decorate these helmets. Now again, as I mentioned before, it's very famous because Crusaders used to use it. In fact, this one here, as you see, has a decoration. Now, this is a typical decoration of a Crusader helmet because it has the cross, the Holy Cross, engraven here. But there were many other kinds of Great Helms. And these helms were decorated in many other ways, for example, such as crowns or feathers, for example, and metal wings to the sides. They existed, historically speaking, and particularly when we talk about Teutonic order. So it has become a bit of an icon of the knight. It was not the only kind of helmet that knights use, and it really depends on what knight, what order we're talking about, but definitely it was used by the Crusaders and other knights like the Teutonic knights. But the Middle Ages covered a sizable span of time, and that was time enough for the helmet to undergo many radical changes. Moreover, knights would normally wear the Great Helm over a chain coif, in some cases even in conjunction with an actual iron skull called the cervelliere. And even the later version of cervelliere, which is the bassinet, was sometimes worn underneath the Great Helm. So now I'm going to wear it for you. So, my vision is not perfect, but I can clearly see what's in front of me and a little bit to the sides. Although I would get a better vision by moving a bit my head, but still I can see what's going on. I have a full vision. And I can hear pretty well, although my ears are covered, so I don't have 100%, and you need to imagine that in a battlefield situation, obviously, there would have been a lot of noise, so I must imagine probably hearing commands and shouts was not the easiest thing to do wearing one of these. Good protection. I actually feel well protected, I have to say. So yes, that felt good. I think it's an experience that each one of you should do. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.